I bought this vehicle used, came from Florida, and gonna do some tires today. So these tires were made, looks like, almost the end of 2016. And one of the reasons why I'm changing, even though it looks like there's quite a bit of tread, is that the tires are falling apart. I'm not sure. This was a Florida car, so I don't know if this is normal down there, what's happening. But yeah, there's chunks of tire are just coming out everywhere. I mean, whatever. So, we're doing new tires. Never use those type of weights. These are bad because they corrode your rims and then get rim leaks slowly in the rust belt states. See, look at that, all that's dirt there. But what happens is you get a really tiny scratch over here where it disturbs the paint, and then the corrosion from the road salt gets at the paint and works its way down into the rim. So you got to be very careful. You keep an eye on these things and then put anything like a RTV or something over the top of that and the paint's really damaged. Sir, your rim's got some corrosion here. Can't you see right here? You gotta buy new rims. You all been to those tire shops. Right there. You're like, where? And you're like, here, maybe I can help you out. Like, you see you got corrosion. You see that little speck? And then they sell you a whole bunch of rims. In reality, if there is corrosion, you can just use one of these and just hit that little spot and call it done. Or even the entire rim if need be. But if you gotta run a business, you gotta make money somehow. The other thing you're not gonna see shops do, that I'm going to do, is I want a proper seal with the new tire. And you can see how this old rubber got left behind because it actually sealed properly to the metal. So I'm gonna spray a little bit of brake cleaner on the cloth, and you just gently wipe it, and eventually it all disappears. And now you got a perfect mating surface to seal to. And you'll want to wipe hard because otherwise the paint comes off. So it's just a quick little wipe and that's about it. So I'm going to clean this up and we'll continue filming later. So this spot of the rim's being really hard to get this stuff off. Now how's a tire supposed to seal properly on that? See how long it takes to do tires properly? You can't do them as fast as those franchises. It's nice and clean. That's it. You don't want to go too aggressive with the brake cleaner, trust me. Unfortunately, a professional tire shop worked on this rim at one point with the previous owner. And you can see, I'm gonna have to file down these marks. So what happened was, see my machine, I've got plastic here. The machine they were using when they clamped down the rim clearly didn't have plastic. And what happens is it put a nice sharp edge on the lip of the rim where it seals. So I'm gonna have to file that a little bit. It's too bad when professionals work on your cars. I hate that. So unlike those tire franchises, I like to have tires that don't leak anything, barely anything at all. So then when I'm done, after cleaning this surface, because if you don't have a clean surface, how the heck is the tire supposed to seal? Use some just window cleaner. Then I just wipe the rim edge, make sure it's perfectly clean all the way around, no dust, nothing, so that tire can set in and seal properly. I never have to worry about tire pressures. They all go up and down evenly over time. I'm not changing the seal here because I've had a lot of cars go 7-8 years on all the tires. And when you got the aluminum valve stems, never have a problem. If you got the one with the rubber where it bolts on the back to it, you got to replace those all the time. For some reason, these aluminum ones never had a leak. Tire stores, they love to do that. Well, the one got the battery dead, you should do all four. And then they try to charge you $80 for a $30 sensor at any parts store. And they're just upselling. I've had one sensor go dead, and then the other 3 lasted 10 years. I can't believe it, but it does happen that way. So I only replace what's broken is my motto. Another thing, when you have the new tire, you want to take some window cleaner again, mild stuff, and you want to clean, wipe this bead down to get any surface dust off of it so that the rubber can properly seal to the clean surface. You got to remember, I'm not a tire shop, so I'm not going to do a volume over quality with my work because it's my personal car. But you'll never see this type of craftsmanship from a tire shop. It's just bang bang, get them out. And if you have a leak, come on back and we'll worry about our problems tomorrow. Another thing you won't see at tire shops, this stuff's I think like $30 or something a jug with rust inhibitor for lubing up the tires. Costs too much money. You're probably lucky to even get a name brand dish soap at tire shops. So now I'm going to use my $30 a bucket tire lube with the anti-corrosion inhibitor. 20s are huge, man. Oh wow, I didn't see that one. Sometimes it really sucks when you do these, so you gotta put in one of these guys. Let's try that again. To use the air jets underneath apparently. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Sometimes these tires are fun. stuff can fling in your eyes and it'll burn, trust me. Here's another pro tip about balancing. This is a perfect example here. Good example. You see the surface? This is all painted. And the reason why that's painted and they have a tape line or a paint line that's very precise on the inside is because that's a datum on the other side. So when you paint the surface, you have uncontrolled thickness in the paint. So you'll never use that for any type of locating, like a tire balancer. So some people will try to put the tire die in the front and then they put it up on the alignment machine. So that's not actually the way it's done. That's not how it should be done. So when you flip it over, you'll see the paint line, and then you'll see that this surface here, this is actually where you're locating on, and that's why they didn't paint it. So what you should always do is clean off some of the corrosion so that shoulder is nice and clean. And that's where you want to stick your die to locate your wheel for your balancer. See how tight that fit is to the wheel bearing? Or the hub, whatever you want to call it. That's why you're supposed to have your die for your tire machine on the back side of the rim. That's the locating surface that you should be balancing off of. Another tire pro tip. So you can see my rim's perfectly straight, and you can see this tire isn't hopping. A lot of times you'll get tires that are brand new and the rim's perfectly straight, but the actual tire tread's hopping. And that's because typically the dies at the manufacturing plant are quite old. And one way to get around that is this tire here is a brand new model. So when you have a brand new model of a tire, that means they have brand new dies, and that's the only time that I really am able with any brand to get a tire that spins perfectly straight when the rim is straight. Sometimes you get these tires and they're completely goofy. You can't even use them, but a lot of tire shops just wait for customers to complain. Let's see. Now we got to pick where we want to put our sticky weights. What's great about this machine is I can tell it where I want to put the weights. So I think the first one I'm going to put is going to be about right there. And then the other one I'm going to put it way back up over here. Don't forget to clean the inside of the rim where you're going to stick it. So sometimes after you put the weights on, you'll get a rounding error in the machine, and then you might have to throw another 1/4 ounce on. And with these sticky weights, I don't like having to take them off, or I like to keep everything nice and neat. So I take some masking tape and I'll put it on the edges. After I locate the tire, what I'll do is I'll just put it all the way into where it needs to go. And then I just hit the tape to the rim. And then I'll respin it and check if there's any rounding. If there's no rounding, then what I'll do is I'll leave the one side taped down, and then I'll pull the sticky off the other side of where the weight is. So as you can see here, the machine wasn't sitting at the threshold of needing one more weight after I put the new weights on, so I don't have to go and redo it. Some tire shops, when you get new tires, want to pitch this thing called road force balancing for a premium. And if it's free, have them do it. But if you got to pay a premium for it, don't do it on a new tire. I've rebalanced and rechecked my balance of my tires many times throughout their life on a couple of vehicles already. And this is what happens. In your first 500 to 1,000 miles, typically about 1,000 miles, you're going to be 3/4 of an ounce to an ounce different, or sometimes maybe 1.25 ounces, just from the tire breaking in. After the tire is broken in, as you keep wearing through the tread, I typically only see 1/4 ounce to a half an ounce variation from the last time I balanced it through the life of the tire. So that's why at the very beginning, don't pay the premium for the road force, get the cheap one. And then you go back after 1,000 miles and get the road force. So this way it stays consistent for more of the life of the tire. Now this machine here, believe it or not, if I go back and rebalance to the nearest quarter ounce every, say, 5 to 10,000 miles, it's an incredibly night and day difference just keeping it within a quarter ounce. So I think these machines work pretty darn good. So now I got winter tires here, and then eBay, get an extra set of rims, and then I buy an extra TPMS sensor because I keep swapping my tires on and off depending on how much snow or ice is on the ground.